Let me ask you a question. Which method is hard to understand? Is it map? Is it filter? Is it reduce? Yes, you guessed it correct. It is reduce method. Hi, this is Mahesh and we are going to see a reduce method in JavaScript in this video. So before we move ahead, I urge you to subscribe my channel. It gives me huge motivation. So please do subscribe my channel and let's move and check why reduce method is hard to understand than others. So what is reduce method? So reduce is a JavaScript array method. Okay, it executes a reducer function for each and every array element and it returns a single value, a function accumulated result. So let me give you an example of sum. Okay, so we'll check how sum work. Usually when we do sum of array element, so we'll take an example of sum and we'll do that example by using reduce method as well. So let's go and see. So here I have already written a sum method so that we can save our time little bit. Okay, so how we usually do a sum, we create one variable and assign a 0 to it, and after that we run a for loop. Okay, and we usually add each and every element to sum and return the new result, right? So that's the sum. So now if I show you the result of this sum we have calculated, so it's 10 here, right? If I refresh it again, it will give me a 10. Okay, so this 10 is nothing but the sum of each and every element, right? Now let's see how we can write a reduce method and do the same thing. Okay, so I'm gonna write const result is equal to result equal to, this is the array and this is reduce method. Okay, so this reduce method have two arguments. One is callback function, second one is initial value. So in here the callback function also have four arguments, which is previous value, current index, and the array itself. Okay, the current index and the array both are optional arguments, so even though we don't pass them then it won't matter. So but the required arguments are previous value and the current value. Okay, so those are mandatory arguments. So what we will be doing is we will be passing the callback function to the reduce method first. So I'm going to pass the callback function. So I have passed the callback functions. Now this callback function have two arguments, which is previous value, second one is current value. Okay, and what we need to do is return. So if we want to add this, then we just need to do previous value plus current value. That's it. So if we provide initial value, if you can see here initial value now, right? So the thing is, the second argument of the reduce method is initial value. Now we will be providing 0 as initial value, just like we have provided initialize the sum variable, right? So earlier when we saw that example, that time we have provided initial value as a 0 to sum. Similar way, what we have to do is we have to provide the initial value to this reduce method, and what happens is when we provide initial value as 0, so let's say I have provided this 0 as initial value in here, so it considered the previous value as 0. So it is nothing but we are providing the previous value for the first iteration. Okay, so when we provide 0 in here, so it means for the first iteration the previous value will be the 0. Okay, so we are initializing previous value as 0. Okay, so now If we see the result, so it will give us a 10. Sorry, I haven't, I just have to console.log result. Okay. So now if we can refresh and see the result is 10 here. But how it works, let's debug it and check every iteration what's happening behind the scene. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is go to sources and here. Okay, so let's say now I will refresh it again. So it's here. So if you can see, so initial value, so you can see here the previous value is 0, right, and the current value is 1, right. So the current value is the first element of the array and the previous value is 0 when we provide a 0, right, in the initial value. So previous value is 0 here. So now what we are doing, we are adding previous value plus current value. So the return result will be 1, right. So let's say return result. So here return value is 1. You can see here return value is 1, current value was 1 and previous value was 0. So if I run it again, so now so we are on the next iteration now. Okay, so this is the second iteration where the current value is 2, okay, and the previous value is 1. Why previous value is 1? Because the result of the last iteration was 1, right. The return value was 1, so that's why now it's giving that result to previous value, right. So that is why now previous value in this iteration is 1 and current value is this element, okay, this which is 2. So now we will be adding previous value and current value again. So what will happen? So return value is 3 now. The result return value means the result of this is 3, right. 2 plus 1 which is 3. So in the next iteration what will happen? The previous value will be 3 because it is this return value is 3. The last result was 3. That's why the previous value will be 3. Let's see. Yes, the previous value will be 3 and the iteration is the third iteration. Okay, so that's why current value is also 3. So now the return result should be 3 plus 3 which is 6. So you can see here return result is 6, right. So for the next iteration previous value will be 6 then, right. So and the current value is here 4. Okay, so we'll move next to the last iteration. So this is the last iteration where we can see previous value is 6, okay, previous value is 6 and the current value is 4. So 6 plus 4, the result will be 10. Okay, so the return result is 10. So as we don't have any other elements in here, so we are going to return the result, assign this result to this statement. So now the result value will be 10, right. So now the result is 10. So now we are going to print that 10 on this console. So we can see console as 10, right. So this is the example where we have provided the initial value as a 0. Let's say if we don't provide the initial value, then what happens? Will it give us the same result? Yes, it will give us the same result. It will give us a 10 only, but this time it will behave a little bit differently. So now as we haven't provided the initial value, so what will happen? It will consider this 1, the first index of the array, as a initial value. Let's see. So initial value means what? So initial value is nothing but it will this value we will be assigning to previous value, right? and then array loop starts from, it will start from 2. Okay, so let's debug it again. In this case, what will happen? Okay, so now let's remove this debugger for now, and I'll refresh it again. Okay, in here, so see, the previous value is 1, so we haven't provided the initial value as 0. So if you remember, when we have provided the 0 from here, that time the previous value for the first iteration, it was 0. Okay, and the current value was 1. But now when we haven't provided the initial value, what happened is the initial value considered to be as 1, so that's why it is assigning to previous value. Okay, so previous value is 1 now, and the current value means the starting index of the array iteration is 2, this, right? So that's why for the first iteration will start from 2, so that's why current value is 2 and previous value is 1. Okay, so now when we go ahead, so the result is 3 here. So for the next iteration, the previous value will be 3, right? So see, the result was 3 in the previous iteration, so that's why the previous value now it is 3, and this current value is 3 because now we are iterating this element. Okay, so now array on this element, this index, so that's why it is also a 3, right? Now 3 plus 3 is 6, so return value is 6, right? Return value is 6. Now in the next iteration, that 6 will be previous value, right? So this is the previous value, and current value is 4 because this is we are iterating this element, right? Fourth element, right? So that's why current value is 4. Now this 4 plus 6, what will be the result? Result should be 10, right? So the return value is 10. Now this all so we are going to assign this 10 to this result. Okay, so at the moment we haven't assigned it, so we need to return it. So we have returned it, and now the result will be 10. Here we go. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, I hope you guys understand what I was showing to you, and this is all about the reduce method, and I hope you like the video. If you like the video, please do subscribe my channel. It gives me a huge motivation to make such kind of videos again. So I humbly request you to subscribe my channel. Thank you so much for watching.